Continue with our most unbreakable record series of clips. This time, the National Football League, American football, hand egg, which one you want to refer to it as. Francis Maxwell, there's a lot of NFL records that could easily be broken.
Yep.
There's actually, to me, very few that can't be broken. To put my name on the line, I think Jerry Rice's numbers are pretty much safe. I say that because the way the NFL is going, no one's going to be playing the sport in 40 years. They're all going to be like, yeah, we opted to play basketball. So let's go into a list. I made a list of a few. And, of course, I should also mention there's a few others that I want to get to. They mentioned Dick Night Train Lanes because it's such an awesome name anyway. 14 interceptions in 1952. That's, of course, conceivably a record that can get broken because it's not even one interception per game. There's more games now. And, guys get hot. Charles Woodson, he didn't come close to 14 in a season, but he was the type of guy who was hunting down balls and could make those plays. Don Shula's 328 regular season wins. I wonder how far away Bill Belichick is from that mark. Jerry Rice's 197 career touchdowns and 22,895 career receiving yards might be safe. I'm going to show you why. Here's the list of wide receiver touchdowns and wide receiver yards. Larry Fitzgerald has been consistently healthy on the field, has played 12 years, has had a pretty good quarterback with him through most of his career, and finished with 103 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison had one of the greatest quarterbacks throwing to him, played 12 years in the NFL, eventually had to retire, I think also might have killed a guy, and finished with 128 touchdowns. That's not even close. Randy Moss was the greatest wide receiver of a generation. Not even close to Jerry Rice's mark. It's longevity for part of it. And here's the receiving yards. It's an even more remarkable list. You're talking about 7 full seasons of top-tier 1,000-yard receiving seasons than almost anybody else. He's 7,000 yards ahead. I don't know how you catch that. Again, Randy Moss had Brady for a year. We saw what happened. So he also had Dante Culpepper for a couple of years too, right, in Minnesota? Yeah. Tony Gonzalez had some good quarterbacks through his career. Marvin Harrison's on that list too, with Peyton Manning. And Reggie Wayne's on that list. And poor Andre Johnson, who didn't have nearly as good quarterbacks as all these other guys did. Isaac Bruce had Kurt Warner. Like, it's a pairing type of thing. The separation is wild. I know, Odell Beckham Jr., Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, they're not going to come close.
No, because the average length of a player, wide receiver, is 2.81 years nowadays. Like, I understand there's going to be freak athletes. That is it, based on Statista. But this guy played for what, nearly 20 years, 19 years?
He played 19 years. Jerry Rice played 19 pretty healthy seasons.
That's 19 years. Just contemplate that right now. 19 years. In the current day and age, taking that amount of hit from bigger, stronger athletes, I just don't think that's going to be broken. You need to be at least to be able to average that amount of receiving yards per season, as his was phenomenal. Go on
yards
longevity throughout a career, spending most of his time for the one franchise at San Francisco, right, and then went on to Oakland. That's pretty insane. I just don't see it happening because of those factors. Wide receivers aren't playing that amount of years. They're barely even averaging 3 years in the NFL. I think that players more often than not are not going to stay in amongst one franchise to the point where maybe they'll be that dominant or be a part of a winning team that consistently
did it. He's been a Cardinal his entire career. But he's one of the best of his
entire 10. How long is his career?
He fell like 90 reception touchdowns short of Jerry Rice. 90. He just got past the halfway mark to Jerry Rice.
It's I think this is safe. I think you can lock this up. And put it in the cabinet of records that will never be broken. How about
these other two, though? We have Barry Sanders one, which I find remarkable. 5 1,500-yard seasons, right? The way that running backs has to be a shorter longevity if they have that on your chart.
The running backs is the lowest, 2.57.
Okay, so even less of a chance. Adrian Peterson did it for 2 seasons, and he looked like to be the most unstoppable guy in the world, and then injuries happened. Like, Ezekiel Elliot right now is on the best possible path he could be with that Cowboys offensive line. He's going to surpass 1,500 yards this season, but could he do it for 4 more without any injury? So, that's probably the best case. David Johnson might have a shot at it too, depending on how young he is, but I still look at too many things could go wrong with the injuries in the NFL. And then even more impressive, I believe, is Brett Favre's 321 consecutive starts. And here's why it's so remarkable. Favre not only holds the record for most consecutive starts, but also for the most passing. That could be a little out of date. But Manning can make Favre's durability record fall, but he can't miss a start for the next 8 seasons. He'd have to play till he's 43 and not miss one start. Not happening. Not happening.
Impossible.
321. I mean, I can't believe Eli Manning's been 194 consecutive starts. I've realized that the Giants, as a Giants fan, we're lucky to have such a durable quarterback who looks completely lost every time he throws the football. 321 starts, man. Brett Favre, he played like 2 days after his father passed away. He played through like broken thumbs.
Yeah, that's
nowadays they're not going to allow that to happen.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. With the injury protocol, and it's not like I'm going to use this in the whole Clint Eastwood frame of speaking, where it's like, back in my day, it was much better like that when we could all just be openly racist. No, I mean that back in this is something that is a good thing, that you don't want players to just go through getting hit and destroyed week in, week out to the point where they should not be playing but are allowed to continuously play. So yes, Jason, I think this record is pretty safe, seeing that with the way this game's moving as well, you're not going to have a quarterback, specifically a quarterback who's taken a ridiculous amount of hits, who maybe even be subject to targeting, be able to consecutively start free from injury for that longer period of time.
I agree with you. I think all the quarterback touchdown and passing records are up for grabs because the NFL passes the ball more than it ever has.
Yes.
I say that, and people go like, well, can't you say the same for the wide receivers? Well, the quarterback has so much more control over that, and it's only one player. Wide receivers still have to find a way to get 10, 12, 14, 16 targets a game and turn those into receptions and turn them into yards, whereas the quarterback gets to spread the field. So there's a better chance that, who knows? Drew Brees is up there right now. Peyton Manning currently. Tom Brady's going to be coming close to that. There's already a few that are fighting out for those records, and as more quarterbacks come into the league, there's going to be some that start to ignite the stats.
It's fascinating when you look across all these clips that the way the game's going really does matter as to how many records are going to be broken. Like in the game in basketball, if people are shooting the 3-ball more, Steph Curry's going to destroy the 3-point shooting record. If they're passing the ball more, then there's going to be an opportunity for that. In the NBA, we just mentioned that the assist record's pretty safe because if you're assisting more than you're actually shooting, I don't think you thrive as much in the NBA.
I mean, not to go back to the NBA, and you're relying on somebody else to finish your work.
Yeah, exactly.
In a way. With quarterbacks, you're relying on your wide receivers to finish your work in a way. But again, I'll always lean back on Jerry Rice's thing is that he was the number one targeted guy. He probably led the league in targets almost this entire season. But there's too much of the spread. There's too much spread. There's too much injury worries in the NFL that a lot of those big numbered records aren't going to get broken.
And also what I like about this is when you look back at these athletes that have got these new records or the ones that are in the past. Like when you look at an athlete who has a record back in the 1960s, you're like, Jesus, that guy must have been so gifted, no one can break that. But then you get some athletes that come around and they just shatter them all. Like I love whenever there is the argument as to athletes that will go down as known as the best in history, then you just look at the impact they had before they came into the sport, like what their records were, and after. Like when you look at Lionel Messi, not only is the records he's broken when he came into the game like recent, some records were 2005, 2006. He was breaking records that were set in 1965. Like that's what he was able to do. Come in, no one in that span of time, like 40, 50 years, could break that record, and he was able to come in and just completely
we're looking
eradicate
at
it.
it happening in the NBA. It's been 50 years. Russell Westbrook and what he's trying to do. So records are made to be broken.
That's when legends are made.
What is it? Legends are heroes.
Did I put my hand in my heart?
No, it's the Sandlot. Heroes are something, but legends never die. Heroes are remembered, but legends never die. Comment below, like, favorite, subscribe. We'll see you next time.